I was on a tractor and Randy Mello called chief of EMS. He just explained to me that his paramedics were concerned. He got a call from his inspector, or his superintendent on the road, who said that at that point they were already at 13 overdoses in, I think we were about 26 hours into it. 2 fatal, 3 cardiac arrests. The GTA has always been an influence on Peterborough, and more so every year after that, since the 90s. So you have your GTA gang influences, you have your traditional organized crime, like your biker groups that were around at that time that were responsible for a lot of the drugs that came to Peterborough. And you had your profiteers, you know, your smaller groups. They'd still be organized, 2 or more members of different groups at that time. But for the most part, we had a bit of a handle on it in regards to knowing who was there. You can never have a full handle on it. So cocaine, always been around. Heroin, but mainly black tar heroin at that time. And there was a small amount of meth. Later on, ecstasy came into play. Cannabis has been around forever, and then the issues with alcohol. So you look around 1999 with the Purdue Pharma, the challenge with OxyContin. So you go back to 99, 2001, we really started to notice it in Peterborough. And we noticed an increase in crime, property crimes. We noticed the robberies going up. We noticed the sex trade work. We went from, like in 2005, from 5 sex trade workers we were aware of on the streets to 26 almost overnight, all with opioid addictions. We had a methadone clinic started springing up. And we at one point had 1,200 people in methadone clinics in Peterborough, which we would still be at now. So that hasn't changed since OxyContin. And we had the educators telling us that they're having trouble in the schools with younger and younger people experimenting with drugs that weren't around before. In about 2004, 2005, that led us all as community agencies, medical officers of health, everybody calling each other, coroners, because we started losing 12 to 17 people a year in the county of Peterborough. We saw for the first time not just marginalized population, but just what you would call your regular people, regular professionals succumbing to addiction. So we thought nothing was worse than OxyContin. We didn't think anything was worse. We were pushing hard to do what we could, putting pressure on Purdue Pharma, putting pressure on the government at every level to do something about the OxyContin. But as you saw, in a lot of cases, doctors stopped prescribing, all those other things that came along. And then we had the Oxy-Neo, the tamper-resistant Oxy in 2012 with the gel-like substance that made it so difficult for people using drugs to use that they had to find something else because the addiction's so strong. So in the mid-2000s, I was enforcement-based, 100% enforcement-based. Believe that traditional enforcement would be the huge piece of this in leading. But then as time goes on, you're realizing you're arresting the same people. Yeah, we still need to be there in enforcement to reduce the supply, but we have to work on the demand end. Once they find that this isn't a moral failure, it's a medical disorder, people can change their paradigms as well. If you had the clean, safe supply, which costs next to nothing, you wouldn't have people overdosing, and you wouldn't have the crime that we have associated with it. Because people, while you're trying to get them into treatment, would be working on that piece. It would just be another form of treatment, right? I mean, if you look at the dissuasion courts in Portugal, they meet people where they're at. They have that social, safety, robust wraparound services are all there. That's what we need to build here. So supervised consumption and treatment facility. Their part of it would be the needle exchange part, which keeps needles where you want them, keeps communicable diseases down because you're not sharing needles, builds self-esteem, so that's what a lot of this is, feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness. These are human beings, as important as I am or you are or anyone else. None of us are any more important than each other. And if you look at it through that lens, then you will develop a compassionate approach. Just put other people in front of yourself and take a moment to accept these people. They're part of our community and they have the right to be here. If you look at the people of this police service now, we're in the best shape we've ever been, and it makes me proud of where we're going and the type of people we are. Because it just takes one partner to let this down, what we're doing, and we can't. We've done so well, and I think we're heading in the right direction.